You could be losing thousands of dollars every single month inside your Google Ads account and you wouldn't even know it. It's not your ad copy, it's not your landing pages, it's one setting hidden deep inside the account that's attracting tire kickers instead of real customers. I've audited over 25 different home service ad accounts, and almost every single one was making this mistake in some form or the other. In this video, I'm going to show you what it is. First, if you're new here, my name's Tyler Davis, owner of Lead Liftoff. We help home service businesses scale through online advertising and marketing. If you've been here before, welcome back. Let's get right into it. The big culprit I see in a lot of accounts is broad match keywords. Now, first, let me explain what these are. So in Google Ads, you're bidding on keywords. You're telling Google these types of words I want my ads to show up for. And there's really three types of different keywords. The first type is broad, which we're going to be talking about. The second type is going to be phrase. And the third is exact. And you see how broad doesn't have any quotes or brackets or anything. Phrase has quotes and exact has those brackets. That's because that's how it's denoted inside the ad account itself. Now, what's really the killer here is that broad is the default. There's no quantifiers on the side. When you put in a keyword like roofer, by default, that's broad. Okay, what do these mean? Broad, phrase, exact, what does it mean? It's really just three different tiers of how different from the actual keyword types of searches your ads will show up for. So in this example for roofer, let's say we put it as a broad match keyword. What we're gonna get might be, how do I fix my leaking roof? Because it kind of mentions roof in there. Or we might get something that doesn't even include the roof at all, saying I have a leak in my ceiling, or shingles are falling off. And they don't even include roof, but it's very broad because Google knows it's somewhat related. Second is phrase. Now this is definitely tighter, so it's gonna be more tightly related to, to roofing terms. And typically for these, you're gonna see slight variations, but ideally similar intent. Not always the case. Sometimes you get very wild stuff. If you're bidding on keywords that have multiple keywords, like roofing companies near me, sometimes companies won't be in there. Sometimes near me won't be in there. Things like that. But they try to keep it somewhat similar. And then exact is traditionally exact. So it's a direct match of keyword to keyword. Only somebody who's typing in roofer directly will ever see the ad show up. Now, in reality, there's still some sway with exact, but the trend still holds the same, where broad, is the highest level of variance in the type of searches you get, and exact is the tightest. Another way of saying it is by going broad, you're giving Google more control, and exact, you're taking control back for yourself on the types of searches you want to show up for. Now, the issue with broad is that they attract tons of different clicks that would never convert in the first place. People searching for all sorts of different things you couldn't even understand, couldn't even comprehend. If it somewhat relates to roofing in any sort of way, it's going to show up on broad match. And the reason this is an issue is because every click costs money. Every single one, even if they convert or don't, every single click you get on Google Ads will cost you money. So it's super critical that we make sure the only clicks we're getting are from people who are extremely highly likely to actually become a customer. And by definition, broad match does not do that. And the worst thing about this, you might think, okay, broad match might not do that, but the clicks are cheaper and, I cast a wide net. I'll get some of them who are high intent. The bad thing about this is you're training Google on data that you don't want. So you're basically reinforcing to Google saying, hey, I'm paying for these words over and over and over again. And Google as a platform is incentivized to give you more and more of those searches, more and more of those words, more and more of those types of potential customers hitting your website and never converting. So here's how you fix it. To fix it, make everything phrase or broad or exact match. And the way you do that is, like I said before, with these quantifiers here. So go through all your keywords and add either quotes around them or brackets around it, or you can select it in the drop down too. But this is the easiest way to do it. Now, I touched on this a little bit, but it remains true. And it's this myth that more clicks is better for your advertising. And this it just could not be further from the truth. I see so many times people obsess over the cost per click. They say, oh my gosh, my clicks are so high, I gotta get my click cost down. Or why is Google charging me so much for clicks? Something to do all these changes that Google's recommending to lower my cost per click. And that's not wrong inherently, because obviously you want a low cost per click, but what's more important than a low cost per click is the quality of the clicks. Quality is what we care about. Let me give you an example here. So just recently, 2 days ago, actually, I signed up for a new gym, right? So I got this new gym. This is the gym. And let's pretend you're that gym owner, right? His name's Jesse, great guy. So pretend you're the owner of that gym and somebody offers you a deal. You could either, option one, pay $500 for 100 contacts, or option two, you could pay $250 for 10 contacts. And these contacts would be phone numbers of potential people who want to go to the gym. Now, if I'm Jesse, if I'm the gym owner, looking at this, obviously number one so far is a better deal. But number one comes with this caveat where this is just the general population. It's a random sampling, people in, let's say, a 5 to 10 mile radius of people who live there. And it's just a random sampling, general population, very broad targeting. At that point, it's $5 a contact, and you get a whole slew of different people. And what's going to happen when you do that? You're going to get people who are already members to a different gym. You're going to get people who have home gyms. You're going to get people who don't want to work out, that they're not health-oriented people. You're going to get people who are too far away from the gym, who it wouldn't even make sense for them to go to that gym based off their lifestyle. And, they have kids, they have to drop them off here and go pick them up here from school. And it just wouldn't make sense. Now compare that to this category where instead of paying, $5 a contact, you're paying $25 a contact. But what if this group is 25 to 35, prime age of people who are realizing that fitness isn't forever. Once you become an adult, you have to work out and keep it intact. That's the category I'm in right now. Let's say they're business owners. Let's say they live in a 3-mile radius for sure. And let's say they recently Googled a gym. So from this, we know that they're in our demographic. And because of that, the contact is worth so much more. With this general, he might only be able to close maybe 2 of these. Whereas with these 10 contacts that are in the demographic, we know that he might be able to close 4. So this example, all I'm saying is that the cost per click, your cost for somebody just to see your website is not the main driver. The quality of the person who sees the website is the main driver. And the other issue of assuming that cost per click is your main driver and not the quality is that you start to make changes on the wrong things. You'll be looking at your account and you'll say, okay, I'm getting all these clicks, but nobody's calling me. Nobody's reaching out. So maybe my offer sucks. I need to change that. Maybe I need to update my landing page. Maybe I need to do these pictures. Maybe I need to do X, Y, Z, and the other thing. When the issue is you just have bad traffic coming in, you have bad data coming in, and you're spending all your time doing this other stuff where it could have been perfect the way it was initially, but you just never gave it enough good data to even test. It's always more important to start with good data, start with good traffic, and target the right people. Now, one of the best ways to do that leads in my third point here, which is going to be negative keywords. Now, earlier when we were talking about match types, remember broad, phrase, and exact, we talked about how exact match isn't always 100% exact. Like there's still some leeway there. Somebody might search roofer and exact match might show up with a city name and then the roofer or roofing company or things like that. So it's not 100% exact. So even if you went full-blown exact, you would still need negative keywords. If you don't know what negative keywords are, they're basically keywords that you list in your ad account where if somebody searches that, your ad is banned from showing up. It'll never show up for it. Types of keywords we like to use for this are competitor names, because typically in home service, you don't want to bid on competitors because people look up competitor names all the time because of a follow-up on a job they did to request like a quote if they've already interacted with them for some reason. Usually competitor bidding doesn't work super well. It can be a strategy if you're trying to cannibalize that traffic. It's kind of an advanced strategy, not what we're talking about right now. So competitor names you don't want to show up for. DIY searches you don't want to show up for. That's a big issue in home services. A lot of people are looking to do it themselves. We don't want to show up for that. Another big one's cost. A lot of price shoppers. We don't want cheap. We don't want how much does it cost. We don't want what is the price of, how much should I expect to pay. All these types of terms usually are bad traffic that we don't want to show our ads for at all. And there's some other ones in here too, like job opportunities. Obviously not unless we're hiring. I guess that would make sense. What's the other big one? There's another big one. Products. That's what it is. Products. If you're a roofer and somebody's looking for products, that means they're like a wholesaler or something like that. You want to stay away from that. You're trying to sell the service, not the products that are used in your service. So we know we need to be adding negative keywords. And really on most accounts, at an absolute minimum, you need to be doing this 1 time a week. But in reality, what we do on our accounts is 3 to 5 times a week. We add negative keywords by looking at the past searches that we got over that last period. So either the last day or the last 2 days. And we see which from those should we add as negative keywords. We pull those out and we add them to our negative keyword list. This just depends on budget. Really, it's traffic. It depends on traffic, how many searches you're getting if you do it 3 or 5 times a week. And the main point I'm trying to drive home here is that you can't fix a campaign if the traffic you're getting isn't good in the first place. The number one first place you have to look at is your search terms. What are people searching when they see your ads? If you have good search terms, everything else becomes much easier because you can make smart decisions and you know that you're operating and optimizing around people who actually have intent to buy your service. If you've made any of these mistakes and you just want somebody to handle it for you, there's a link below this video to apply to work with Lead Liftoff. We handle everything advertising related, so you can just focus on running your business and growing your business while we work on all the digital advertising aspects. Check us out, see if we're the right fit for you. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.